Hello. So I want to tell you about this really cool test that we have here in the office, and it is called a health risk assessment. And what it is a exceptionally detailed questionnaire about your lifestyle. And it asks all the questions. It's asking all about how you eat, and are you getting the nutrients that you need to get? Are you getting your fruits and your vegetables in? And are you avoiding the kinds of foods that you shouldn't be eating? It asks you about your exercise habits. It asks you about your own, like your think well component. So the entire thing is based off of eat well, move well, think well. And it does this exceptional, like, deep dive into your lifestyle. So thoroughly investigating eat well, move well, and think well, okay? And so at the end of this test, then you get what is called a health risk assessment. And this was one that I filled out here, so I'm not sharing somebody else's data. And so I want to tell you about what does this, because I can't like type this up, all right? It's got to be on a video. So once you get your health risk assessment, you get your score, okay? And so it breaks down your score. So like this was a 60, and this is telling you like where you fall along this path. So like, are we alive, completely alive, or are we dead, okay? And then from there, it breaks down, like it comes up with the score based off of these. So it looks at your lifestyle stressors, it looks at your allostatic load, which is kind of like adaptability, and then it looks at your quality of life, okay? And not so much necessarily where your quality of life is now, but if you don't change your habits, you're either there now or you will be there, okay? Now, how we kind of look at all of this is this. And so I think this is just a really amazing visual. So with this, what we can do is imagine that we were born into the ocean of life, and we have a backpack on our back. And if we're born into the ocean of life with this backpack, we ought to live to this like amazing old age of like 100, where at that point in time, we just naturally and comfortably and peacefully drift under the water and die. However, this backpack has the potential to hold rocks in it. And for every rock that's in your backpack, it pulls you down faster. So a rock in your backpack is all of the times that you don't eat adequate fruits and vegetables, or you're deficient in nutrients. A rock in your backpack is when you're toxic in chemicals and your diet is toxic. A rock in your backpack is when we don't exercise enough. A rock in your backpack is when we sit too much. A rock in your backpack is not dealing with emotional stress well, not feeling fulfilled, not having a good support network. All of these things are rocks in your backpack, and the more rocks you have in your backpack, the faster it brings you down, and the faster you sink. Pretty crazy visual, right? So here's where my score was, okay? Now, after we complete that, then we got to break it all down. So it's like you have your total score, and then you had your lifestyle stresses, your allostatic load, and your quality of life. Now we're going to break all of that down. So we have our lifestyle stressors, and that breaks it down into nutritional deficiency or toxicities, movement deficiency or toxicity, psychosocial deficiency or toxicity, drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. And hey, look at that. I got none of them. So I'm doing excellent with that. Then it goes through every question that you were asked, okay? And every question that you were asked, you get graded on it, right? So this is your score. Green is good, yellow is problematic, orange is a little bit more problematic, and red is like real problematic. And then on this side is the target. So like for this, my water intake, I was getting as much water as I needed. Not doing so good on fruits, doing even worse on vegetables when I did this. I wasn't sleeping well. I think when I took this test, I had kids, babies, so I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't doing stress reduction, that sort of stuff. But so it brings it all, like, now we can look at this and we can say, okay, here's the things that we need to be doing, and this is how we should be doing them or not doing them, but this is where we actually are. So now we know exactly where are my problem areas and where do I target my lifestyle. This was our allostatic load. and it's it's adaptability. Allostatic is a really crazy term. It's easier just to think about it in terms of adaptability, but it's metabolic, psychosocial, functional fitness. So just to kind of give you an idea, it was like your, how many days a week was I having asthma, allergies, or skin problems, or was my blood work bad, my levels of anxiety, sadness, emotional stress, satisfaction with work environment, but then also like a measure of my physical fitness is there as well. And then it has your last one was your quality of life. So that comes down into my quality of my physical life and the quality of my psychosocial life. And that there gives you your wellness and prevention index. It gives you that total score. Ideally, we want that to be as close to 100 as we possibly can. A lot of us are struggling in a lot of ways with that, and we might not even know it. Now that you need to be exercising, and now that you need to be having fruits and vegetables, but you might not yet be having the or experiencing the effects of that poor lifestyle. And so the health risk assessment is telling you that, listen, it's a ticking time bomb. If you don't start doing these things, this is where you're going. And this is like actually how bad of shape you're in. And the reason that I like this is because it has that bit of a predictive manner to it. Because everything seems fine for most people until it's not anymore. It's not generally this like slow like progression into poor health or a crisis. For example, I see pregnant women and their lifestyles probably aren't to where they really need to be, and they think they're just fine. And then preeclampsia hits them out of the blue, and maybe their baby gets born prematurely, and that's a terrible thing. But if you just had any idea of just how bad your metabolic health was, you could have made choices to avoid that. Same thing. I'm getting closer to 40 here. I'll be 40 soon. And apparently for so many people, everything is fine in their health until they turn 40. I don't think there's really anything, terrible about being 40 as much as we can only live with the poor lifestyle so long before the bottom falls out of our health. So the health risk assessment is that tool that we have to help bring awareness and start to take some early changes to avoid us ever getting that crisis. So that's what that does. And if you want to do it, just let me know. It's like $30. It's super, super cheap to do. Way better than a after the fact. Like you get your blood work and it's like, it's in normal limits, but they don't tell you how to keep it in normal limits. They just tell you like, oh, now it's bad. You can try diet and exercise, but just take a medicine for it. So they don't really do anything really preventative for it. It's just like kind of an after the fact thing. But this helps us be more preventative.